Good evening, hope you're well and good. We're going to be live just very, very shortly. Welcome. Hope you're tuning on in. I'm just going to be sorting out a couple of technical bits just before we go live, so there's no tweet or anything live just yet. Do not worry about that. If you see random things jumping onto the screen, it is because we are making sure that everything is live and good and ready to roll. Our various capturing things are capturing what they should be capturing. Hoping I'm going to get... Oh. See what's going down. Video settings, yes. Audio settings, yes. And then finally, last but not least, add game. Oh, there we go. We have Pokemon all teed up and good. I'm just wanting to make sure that the sound is working. I am getting sound. Excellent. I believe we are all ready and good for later. So I'm going to leave that all nicely teed up and hope that it works. So I shut the lid, it goes away. And if I open the lid again, it comes back. Fabulous. Okay, we are good and ready for none other than our Nuzlocke run that will be happening after this. So, okay, I think that's all well. That's all good. I'm just going to turn that off for the time being so we can be all ready to go through that. Lovely, but for now it's going to be the Hearthstone half hour. And we are going to be going live with some goodness. Very well. 4 or so minutes to go. Hope you are well and you are good. We shall be live very, very shortly. What I'm looking for none other than a deck that we're going to be building. Okay. Here's the new version. There we go, sort of fun version there. Liking that a lot. We're going to be taking a look at Priest today. I love it that Priest is back and bad and red and cool. Hello, welcome. Howdy! We're going to be taking a look at some Priest, and I'm excited to be doing so. All of Trump's good work. We're going to see what he's up to with his fun and games. But because if there are lots of hunters around, then this deck suffers. Which you can kind of like really suffer with, but we're going to go on the ladder. We're going to see what this deck does and have some fun. Hello, people joining. You come and join us for a double header. We're firstly going to be jumping on in, and we're going to be taking a look at a bit of a Trump deck. We're going to be taking a look at the Priest deck that Trump legended with early on in the season before hunters, as they always do at some point or another, go rife. And then we're going to be looking at a bit of fun. You guys are going to have to pick our own Pokemon adventure, where we are voyaging. It's only episode 2. It's been about a month since we did the first one because of Gamescom and all this kind of stuff, but we're going to be voyaging into Santaloon Forest. That second part, we had a story where we were Jeff Bob to our friends. Our nickname was Bob, and then we had Steve-O the Froakie. So first up, some Hearthstone, Priest fun, and then pick your own Pokemon adventure, Nuzlocke, within rules. Only 3 or so rules. Live in sec. Live in seconds. Fingers, typing fingers. Typing fingers, smashing things on the table. Right, I'm going to do the hellos, and then we're just going to go live and good. I'm going to just dive straight on in. So please do shout of any questions. Great to have you all with us. Very much enjoying and looking forward to getting streaming again. Sorry there was no stream on Friday night, by the way. Unexpected things to be sorting, but these things happen. Typey, clicky type. Yep. Just rolling face on keyboard. Okay, intro time. Good evening, welcome to the Hearthstone Half Hour. I'm Hammy, this is Felcraft Casts. Hope you're well and good. And we are back after Naxxramas with our Frostworm Lair adventures. Still need to go and do Cultist on Heroic, but we're now back into our regular weekly schedule. So that is Monday, a new player Monday, deck guides, jumping on in to sort of break down popular legending decks and similar from a beginner, newish player perspective. And that includes myself. I'm also learning as we go along. Tuesday, pick your own arena. You guys come, pick the heroes, pick the cards. We don't play, see how it goes. Hopefully I don't mess it up too much for you. Wednesday, we're going to be getting back to ladder Wednesdays, seeing what the ladder is like along with the decks that I'm playing. Thursday, some tactics if we do that, and Friday is fun stream. But today we're going to be doing a lovely double header. But first up, we are going to be taking a look at and sort of Naxxramas Priest that has come up since over the last 3-4 weeks because of new Naxxramas cards. But Trump, with all credit to you, has made a very, very fun version of it. So let's jump into this deck intro guide. On New Player Monday, what we do is we take a deck we've seen kicking around or we're interested in learning a bit more about. We build it together, we look at the cards, we have a look and see how they can maybe work with each other, and then we take it on into the ladder, into some casual games to see how it plays, learn how to play it. We will make some mistakes, we hopefully get a good gist of it. So generally when we take a look, we break the deck down and explore some basic concepts. What we will not be doing, as always, is playing it like a Grandmaster Legend boss. There are plenty of Grandmaster Legendary bosses, and you can find all of their streams in various places, and I will certainly link you to them as well. So let's jump on in. So Priest, the world of Priest. We are all ready to build our deck. Now, Priests have lots of cool combos. However, they do tend to suffer against aggro and against hunters, and basically there are some very strong core mechanics in the deck, but when it comes to the matchups, even for the last couple of seasons, they have had a tough time. Now, there are lots of players who love Priests, particularly some very good ones. I'd say Maz, Trump and similar, who are always trying to make the deck work. And I think pretty much any deck in Hearthstone, if you're prepared to tweak or have a few different versions, or people going up to Legend, generally don't Legend with just one deck, not since the early days anyway. Those early days being all of 6-7 months ago. So there is room to have a couple of different deck variants, and as always, all decks will flourish or suffer in different metagames. So, number one thing, bear that in mind. But let's take a look at Trump's Priest. So while we build this deck, we'll take a look at a lot of the solid core mechanics of Priests, and then we'll just look at Trump's little nuances and variations and things he has introduced to see how he's sort of taken it on a level or certainly tweaked it for a particular situation. So first up in this deck, what we have, we'll grab sort of some of the Priest staples, for want of a better word. Let's go find where this has gone. Some heals. I'm going to find the heals. Right, here we go. So first up, you can drop in sort of the circles of healing. So Circle of Healing, just a lovely, lovely strong Priest card. Reason 4 health to all minions, and it combos very, very well with the next card I'm going to drop in. So things that are like the core of a Priest deck, I'm going to drop all of these in one go and then explain them as we go. So you can see how these combo up just by taking a quick look. So Circle of Healing restores 4 health to all minions for 0, so that's wonderfully mana efficient. You will, of course, if your opponent's minions are on full health, then they don't benefit. If they are on less than full health, then of course they do benefit. But what happens if instead of restoring full health, I put down the Organized Soul Priest? Again, a ridiculously fun priest card. Your cards and powers that restore health now deal damage instead. So instead of restore 4, it's deal 4. Deal 4 to all minions for 0 mana. A massive table clearer. So against rushes, again, picking away against big minions and things, that is going to be good bang for buck. Lovely value for mana there. And then of course the Organized Soul Priest also sets up your priest power, which is restore 2 health, and changes it to doing deal 2 damage instead. So if dropped at the right time, if comboed with the right cards, absolutely excellent. And then of the Naxx Cleric, whenever a minion is healed, draw a card. As a priest, you heal with your hero ability. You have Circle of Healing that lets you heal, and there's some other things that you can drop in there as well. So you can see, depending on when you drop these cards, you're either healing lots of minions and drawing lots of cards, or you're damaging lots of minions if you've got an Organized Soul Priest on the table. Don't be like me and forget that you have an Organized Soul Priest on the table. Instead of doing lots of healing, you can do lots of slaying of your own minions, and that can be quite embarrassing. So that's my top social tip of the week for all of you wannabe or existing priest players out there. Do not do as I do. Powered Shield. Give a minion 2, draw a card. Strong for 1 mana. That draw a card is great in itself. And then an additional 2 health on a minion, particularly if you're going to be throwing 4 damage around with all minions. That 2 health extra with the Powered Shield can be the difference between life and death. I'll create some pretty nasty minions. Holy Smite, if we grab that, a very simple 2 damage for 1 mana. Can be used to pick things off. And then we have an interesting option in terms of the, I believe it is here, it's the Priest class card, and I hope I've actually got it. Oh, please don't say I haven't got it. How embarrassing. Have I not done the Priest class quest? It is fairly interesting in this deck. Dark Cultist. Dark Cult. Dark Cult crafting mode. I need to complete my Priest quest. How embarrassing. I should have done that before starting. Maybe we can jump in and do that. But a couple of Dark Cultists. So the Dark Cultist is a lovely card because it gives a random minion +3 health when the Dark Cultist dies. So it's 3 mana, 3 attack and 4 health. So that is pretty nasty. Can do some nasty stuff. We may well come back to that and start jumping in to a Priest Naxxramas quest so we can actually grab that card because I think it's pretty important. Death. Shadower Death. One of those to be picking off big minions. That's a bit of extra control. Thought Steal, as we've shown in Arena, but also here, just ridiculously good. Robbing decks from your opponent, cards from your opponent's deck and putting them into your hand, giving you card draw and giving you some nasty damaging ability as well. So that is pretty handy too. We've then got our Organized Soul Priests. 1 Nova as well, makes trumps cut, deal 2, restore 2. Nothing to be said about that, bar strong AoE clearance against rushes and similar, heals you up in a pinch, synergizes, teams up well with Naxx Cleric. If you're healing lots of stuff, you're also going to be drawing lots of cards. So lovely there. Then interestingly, 2 Cabal Shadow Priests. Take control of an enemy minion with 2 or less. Gives you a bit of a tempo change. Could be swapped out if you're not playing against big rushy things, but it's a big bulky body on the table, particularly if combined with the Dark Cultist. And then just the 1 in Trumps version, actually interestingly, Holy Fire, for some nuking. Next we have Zombie Chow. Now Zombie Chow, Death Rattle, restore 5 to the enemy hero, but what if I drop this when I have Organized Soul Priest? Instead of restoring 5 to the enemy hero, I suddenly deal 5, and I deal 5 for 1 mana, unless they can silence it, and if I suicide this, then suddenly it's a nasty threat. So if I can drop that when I've got an Organized Soul Priest on the table, instead of restoring 5, it's dealing 5 to my opponent for effectively 1 mana. Okay, I need the Soul Priest on the table as well. I can kill it. I could kill 2 of these on the table and suddenly do 10 damage. So a very nasty, unexpected surprise, but a nice little combo there. Very worth exploring. So how are we going to combat rushes? Priests do not like rushes. Well, we can grab the Wild Pyromancer ×2. This card does damage after spell, so throw it on table, throw down a spell that does some damage, and then it follows up with a global 1 damage to all minions. That will pretty much hopefully nuke anything with small mana in its tracks. We're also going to grab some Injured Blade Masters. This is a classic, for want of a better word, Priest combo. So when you play him on the table, he does 4 damage to himself, so instead of 470 he's 4-3. But then you can heal him with Circle of Healing. If you've got a Northshire Cleric down, you also draw a card, then you have a 4 attack, 7 health tanky beast on the table ready to do your bidding, and he will certainly chip away some minions before he perishes. Next, the Azure Drake. Well, a bit of a funny one, but the Azure Drake is Azure. Hello, hello, hello. Azure Drake really lets you bridge from sort of early to mid to mid-late game. It's a solid body on the table, 4 attack, 4 health, your opponent has to deal with. It gives you that additional spell damage, and of course as a priest we've got a few spell damage options in our deck. And then the battle cry draws a card, so what might be slightly low attack and health stats for the 5 mana are made up with some kind of versatile card text that can be used in several different situations. A couple of Drakes down on the table. Next we go for, now this is specifically for the Hunter matchup. St. Jones. Destroy the weapon, draw cards equal to its durability, good against paladins, good against warriors. You name it, if there's a rogue with a particularly nasty weapon, Harrison suddenly can fill you, get rid of that nasty weapon and fill your hand with some cards, and at worst comes to worst, he's a 5 attack, 4 health minion that can probably do some trading before he perishes. We have a finisher, and the finisher's name is Orangineros, the Fire Lord. You drop him on the deck. You drop him on the deck when most of your opponent's threats are out the way, when your opponent has hopefully used most of their control and such similar. And then we still do not have Sylvanas, which is quite irritating, but that was probably going to be what I'm going to craft next. Sylvanas would have been a trump choice in here for taking control of an enemy minion, which could be quite handy. So pretty handy. Mind Control or perhaps Lower Theb for a minion count. So let's swap in Lower Theb for Sylvanas. But Sylvanas basically, as soon as you throw her on the table, she is going to be making the opponent worry, look for silence. You might take a rubbish minion, you might take a key one, but it's a real tempo changer. It can really steal the advantage to you if you drop it at the right time. So it's kind of tough. But Sylvanas I would like to grab as well. So I've got the Shadow Priests. Let's have a think. I think Lower Theb is going to be our replacement. Let's grab Lower Theb. Lower Theb. Enemy spells costing 5 more will sort of slow things down quite a chunk. So that is our deck bar. We need to just grab those 2. No, I do not want to finish it automatically. We need to grab these 2 Dark Cultists, and we're going to have to actually, I do apologise for this, we're going to jump into a class challenge. We're going to play the Priest class challenge, so we can go and pick up those Dark Cultists. So you now get a Priest challenge bonus. I hope we can one-shot this, otherwise it's going to be rather challenging. So we shall take a look, and actually I think that playing the Priest challenge is not going to be too bad, because this will show us some of the nice little concepts that we're actually going to be using in our constructed deck. So my Ixnay, destroying any minion, I'm going to drop those down and try and get a lower hand. The class challenges, if you're playing Naxxramas, do enjoy them, because they will let you see some new combos and concepts. Basically Blizzard have designed them as a fun challenge. You can get yourself some free cards, but it also lets you start toying with some new combos and exploring the new cards from the expansion. So they give you a pre-made deck. So Polarity Shift swaps me around. The Death Rattle at the moment, I'm going to restore 5 health to Thaddeus when I die, so I don't want to be doing that ideally. Doubling on minions' health. You can see that we've got some weird science combos here. I do not want this to be dying, so at the moment I can double this health and charge in. But of course the Zombie Chow, if he perishes, then he'll be healing Thaddeus for 5. But you can see that Thaddeus is just switching in and out. You can see I've also got some Dark Cultists, and with the Crazed Alchemist you can see what Blizzard are trying to encourage us to take a look at here. Build up big health and use cards that either buff health. Thaddeus is switching them around. I can use my Crazed Alchemist to switch them around. I can swap huge health for huge attack for huge health. So let's throw down the Dark Cultist. This is the card that we're actually playing the class challenge and looking to achieve. But you can see that Thaddeus's Polarity Shift will swap everything over, and he can use that to trigger his Nerubian. he also has Dark Cultists, so this could be very interesting. It's going to be the War of the Dark Cultists. Now, I can change a minion's attack to be equal to health. I'm going to throw down another Dark Cultist. When this dies, a random minion will get 3 health, so I'm going to suicide to do that trade. And then we can see, oh, I've got 7, so I can inner fire to change me to 7/7 should I so desire. I'm going to do that, and the reason I'm going to do that is because even if he uses Polarity Shift, I'm still going to have 7/7. So, class challenges, a nice way of exploring. There you go, I'm still 7/7. Oh. The coin, he's going to go into a 5-drop, and of course remember my zombie chow will heal for 5. There's the sludge belcher. And charge to the face. Now you can see a nasty combo for me here. Your cards. So this is the combo that actually you can see that Trump dropped into his deck, and it is in the very class challenge itself. So watch what happens when I drop my Organized Soul Priest. So now, instead of Death Rattle, restore 5. This is now going to deal 5 to Thaddeus. So that's going to be lots of fun. I'm going to charge in there, get that done. Let's remove those. Charge in, lightning bolt flies on in, and because of that polarity shift, he's actually made my zombie chow live a little bit longer. And there goes the lightning storm, 2 to 3 Dalton minions. He's going to get lucky. He does get the 3, but then he trades that away, and because the Dark Cultist dies, you can see that it's just making my zombie chow live longer and longer and longer. Deathlord, I can certainly slow him down for a while, but you can see again, if I combo a Deathlord with perhaps a Crazed Alchemist, I can go from 2/8 to 8/2. That's if Thaddeus does not get there with it first. So I'm going to get a Temple Enforcer on the table, give a minion 3 health, and you can see that because I'm giving him more and more health, if he decides to polarity shift, I suddenly attack for loads of attack. Death Rattle will actually restore 5 to me, so I'm quite happy to take that on board. I could have just gone for the face, but there you go, I get a free 5 heal. Lovely stuff. So through playing this priest challenge, grabbing our 2 Dark Cultists to complete our deck, we're then going to try and replicate some of these concepts when we go into ladder. And we're going to be trying this out on the ladder this evening. I've just realised that I forgot to announce. There we go. So, as you can see, we are almost there. We've now been switched to 8/2, which we can get a bunch of damage. We can get down to 14. Can I get myself quite in there? I can't quite reach out just enough to be able to finish him off very, very frustratingly. What I may want to do is heal this up some, so I'm not going to be taking too much pain. I'm going to throw down the Deathlord as well. There we go. So, let's charge on in there, almost there, and swap the health and attack of a minion. Well, I'm going to leave that nice and tanky, and you know what, I'm just going to wait, because we're almost there. And down go all the sludge belchers, and we are being walled out with a mid 2 to go. If I could only get an Organized Soul Priest on the table, that would give us a lovely little finish. Okay, so I can use a Crazed Alchemist. We can see a little science in action. So this is an example of how Alchemist comes in. Now he's an 8/3, meaning I can sacrifice. Remove that off the deck. And there's another slime on the table. I can drop a Temple Enforcer. 11 health, and then he'll turn into an 11/4, but don't forget that if he actually decides to attack this, then he'll be able to take it out. He can take it out if he really wants. That will give me a heal, and there we go. We can see our zombie chow, if I don't have my Organized Soul Priest on the table, just buffs him up. I was so close. Lightning bolt, that's going to hurt. Zap! I very much look forward to it, so I can use Thaddeus' power against him. I'm going to be just tapping away. Now if Thaddeus does decide to polarity shift, he's going to trigger my Nerubian egg for me. Lovely, there we go. and a Haunted Creeper hitting the deck as well. So I've no doubt Fairy Dragon actually hits me to the face, a Zombie Chow, but he has no tanks, so that will be GG's. He does not remove my minions. So a lack of trades there, meaning that we easily take the class challenge. But remember that the class challenges are a little opportunity to have some fun, start playing with some new cards. And there we go, we've got our 2 Dark Cultists, which is what we came for, so we're now going to return. But it was good to play that class challenge because it showed us several of the concepts we're actually going to be using in this week's New Player Monday deck. So, before I was waylaid, let's grab the 2 Dark Cultists and then review our deck list in its current form. So we've got a lot of control, we've got a lot of ability to do damage and heal damage. We can Thought Steal, but what we're really trying to do is control the game as much as possible, put up big threats. And a lot of these threats, when we get them on the table, they're going to be very hard to remove if we can stick them down. So if we get our, for example, Injured Blade Master healed up on the table, we buff their health even further with the Dark Cultists, we're going to be putting together some cards on the deck that are really, really hard to get rid of. So that is our goal. We basically want to, if we have a rush deck, then we've got Wild Pyromancer and we've got lots of control cards, or if there's a control deck, then we probably want to try and get the big minions up, so Injured Blade Master, Circle of Healing or similar. So we'll now jump into some games on the ladder and let's see how we can get on. First things first, if you'll just be so kind as to give me a couple of seconds, I'm going to jump on in and quickly just put up the deck so we can have it in our right sidebar so you can see what we're going to be getting involved with. So, firstly, we've taken a look at the deck. We've actually explored some of its concepts through doing the Priest class challenge in Naxxramas, so we can grab the Dark Cultist itself. Now let's jump into the ladder at rank 11. I'm on a win bonus as well, so let's hope that this is going to, well, it's not the deck's fault. It's the player, it's not the deck, so let's hope that I can do this justice. And may the odds be ever in my favour. I went there with that quote. I do apologise. Okay, so this is an interesting example. We are immediately against a deck that priests can occasionally struggle with, but hopefully we have the tools to deal with. So that is the rush. The rush, well, I'm assuming it's a rush. So I'm going to look for a mulligan, and I'm going to assume that we're playing a zoo. If we are playing a zoo, I'd like a Wild Pyromancer, I'd like Smite, I'd like Shield. Shield is good. I'm going to completely mulligan these. Is it worth keeping Zombie Chow? I'm going to be trying to trade, so I'm going to keep Zombie Chow and see how that fares. I'm not too concerned about doing damage. What I am concerned about is trading his minions away. Why do you call? Why? Why do you call? My apologies for this midstream sidebarring. Let's get that in place. Lovely, we are good to go. Okay, and we are pretty sure that we've got a zoo coming, so that's fine. What do I have? With the Blade Master out in the early game will be very, very strong. I could Northshire Cleric into this. Healing drawing cards would be good. The Chow will almost let me remove in a couple of turns. So I can, if I had a Circle of Healing, that would be absolutely excellent. Let's experiment with Chow. Let's experiment with Chow, and let's see if we can coin into some shield. That will give us a big solid minion. Oh, and into a second Chow. We'll have to see how we get on with those. So, obviously, he will get healed up, but I'm not trying to outrush this Warlock if he's doing. What I am trying to do is make sure that I can remove the threats. Okay, he's going for the Chow. He's just removing that straight off the table. Fine, and he's lost his Leroy, so we can see he's clearly some kind of aggro. He's full health, so I really lose nothing, but he does life tap still. So he should have life tapped before doing that combo. Small mistake, because that would have, of course, healed him right back up. So I feel reasonable about that. I can then just throw into a double drop here and say, look, he's still pretty high health. I'm more concerned about slowing down his rush than I am anything else. And he's lost his Leroy Jenkins. So that big charging finishing option that we know that he had now might be gone. Abusive Sergeant goes down. That's a 1-3-3-1. He's decided, okay, he's healed himself again. Again, I have no problem with that. I do lose some damage. Okay, so I could heal to draw, I could shield to draw, and I might think I'm actually going to shield, because look, I can draw a card. Not only can I tip that off the table, but then I can heal again and draw a card, and we're cycling through my deck. You can see I've got a Holy Nova, excellent against Zoo, so I'm feeling pretty decent. Given that a Priest, if you don't get too overwhelmed in the first couple of turns against rush decks such as this, you should be alright, providing you're drawing into your control. You can see I've got the Organized Soul Priest. If I drop that, I can start doing 2 damage, which is lovely. Holy Nova will let me wipe his side of the board as well, so feeling good and feeling strong. The Blade Master, throwing that down, I can't quite heat it up, so I'm going to throw down the Soul Priest. I'm just going to say, look, you know what's going to happen. I'm going to destroy your Imp next go. It is your choose what you want to do. I can trade. If I want to remove the Soul Priest, I can. And there we go, power overwhelming. That's going to make him a 7/5. That will mean he can kill my Soul Priest, but he then is going to perish. Down goes the Void Terror. Very nice play there, because notice that although that minion would die anyway, he suddenly creates a really big and ugly 10/6 minion. So I now need to find a way of dealing with that. And do I have one? Not easily, is the answer. Lerther will certainly slow him down. I cannot destroy this because I do not have my Shadow of Death. Other options? Harrison Jones? Well, he's not going to have a weapon. The Blade Master will give him another threat. I can Blade Master into a draw. The Holy Nova will drop him down some, but not remove him. The Drake will give me the additional spell damage and a card draw. Lerther will give me a body that will just stop him playing minions. So I think the Blade Master will be a threat, which we can certainly tap on the desk. I can then heal that up. Now either way, I know that I can draw by doing that. Holy Fire will certainly help me remove this next go. And what I'm just going to do is drop that down to 4, remove that bubble. So I am in position. I can heal both. If he decides to go for face, I can heal both, and then I can still remove this. Ooh, and down goes DOA, Argus and the Direwolf, making it very, very painful actually, and he's just going to be charging straight for face. But what I can do is remove this. It's all well and good. So, Shadow Priest, take control of an enemy minion with 2 or less, I could rob that tank, but if we just take a look at what I have down here, the Holy Nova will heal up and let me draw, it will do the damage, and then I can swing in and remove that with 5. Do I have just about enough attack? Or I can just Holy Fire it and then tap away, which would be very, very good. I'm actually pretty low on health, worth remembering, so it's not really worth my card draw at this point in time. What I just need to is remove other threats. So firstly, let's just nuke that down. It is indeed your turn to bleed, and I'm not going to quite sacrifice that cleric just yet. I've got the Holy Nova, I've got 18 health. I know that he doesn't have a Leroy, so he could have combos that could finish me off here and here. But what I want to try and make sure is that I can wipe as much of this as possible. I've got that Nova, he will rush everything to my face. I'm expecting life taps, I'm expecting charges. Okay, a Doom Guard as well, that's pretty painful. 5 health to go, this is going to be right down to the wire. And he's soul fired me down to 1 health. So in actual fact, I think he's just 1. How could I have got that a bit different when I was okay in the mid game, but then I came out with some problems into sort of okay in the early game, came out with some problems into the mid. If I'd taken a Wild Pyromancer and got past him earlier, or perhaps got some more solid minions on the table. So this is where Sylvanas would have been good. If I'd been able to throw down Sylvanas, I might have been able to nick something. I can certainly nuke some of these off the table, but it will not let me quite remove this Doom God. I'm not going to be able to heal up for enough. Holy Smites, there we go. That gives me a 5/5, but what it's not going to do is quite let me tip that off the table. I can throw down a Pyro, I can get myself up to 5 health, but it's not quite going to get me high enough to do anything useful. So that is a sad loss, but we can certainly jump into the next game. I'm just going to see what I would have drawn. There we go. So, Circle of Healing would have been good there, maybe a harder mulligan. I don't think the Zombie Chow approach in the early game quite worked. Let's roll in for another and see what we can do. And hopefully we can grab a win to balance things out. So, although the Zombie Chows did a bit of trading, he just aggressively attacked them. I think probably what I did there was a bit of a wrong play. I should have certainly binned. Oh, and another warlock. Okay, hopefully we can learn from our mistakes. Fieldcraft study. So this time we want to keep the low drops. The circle of healing is nice, but we probably want a wild pyromancer. So I'm going to keep the shield. Okay, we've got an Northside cleric, we've got a shield, we've got the fort still. Turn one. Okay, I'm just going to drop a cleric and see what we can do. Keeping Circle of Healing would have been a very, very solid play as well. Although we would have only been mulliganing just for the one card, then there still would have been a good chance of grabbing something handy. You saw in that game we just played, if we'd been able to drop a circle, and we may have actually gone completely the other way. If he does not drop anything or she does not drop anything this turn, we are looking at handlock. Notice the subtle differences. Do they play lots of cheap cards or do they not play any whatsoever? A very, very simple tell against warlocks. I'm not going to get too presumptive, but I'm going to make sure of it. And I've got a Shadow Flame and a Twilight Drake. I know that my opponent is going to be playing a handlock. What is a handlock? A handlock is a warlock deck that stuffs their hand full of cards and then plays generally cards that benefit from having lots of cards in your hand. So Twilight Drake, gain +1 health for each card in your hand. Or the Giant cards, the Molten Giant that costs 1 less mana for every card you have in your hand, and similar. So a mid to late game warlock. We can see saving cards in his hand, but what I can do is now start putting my combos into play. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can throw down either a Shadow Flame, which I don't want to do. The Blade Master won't do huge amounts. I'm just going to throw down, give him some of his own medicine, and now I have my own Drake to start swinging away with. So you can see how the handlock will play. If he has a Drake, he'll throw it down and he'll have similar, but he gets a turn 4 Giant, and you can see that cost 1 less for each other card in his hand. What he sadly doesn't know is that I have Shadow of Death, which I'll be using immediately. So, against handlock, of course this is a late game deck, so Priest, we do have the early game tools, but we're looking to survive into the late game. Down goes another Mountain Giant. Down goes an Ancient Watcher, and we will see that Watcher probably hit with something that makes it into a tank. Shadow Flame, well, I can't kill the Giants. Azure Drake would certainly help me draw into some more. But the Shadow Flame will help me destroy a minion and deal attack to all. So options, taking control of the minion with 2 or less. Well, I don't have that at the point in time. I could just charge stuff into that Giant, but I don't want to lose everything. So I'm actually going to try and take some table control. I'm going to throw down Lertheb and try and slow him down, and then I'm going to charge our opposing hero. Now Lertheb, obviously Sylvanas would be lovely, but what Lertheb will hopefully do is, if he does have spells, I've spell lock him for a go. So I'd imagine, down goes the Drake, nicely played. I'd imagine that there could be a Sun Fury Protector, and there it comes in. So taking that can't attack Ancient Watcher and suddenly creating it into a very, very strong and nasty tank. Now I actually very much hope he charges against my Drake, because if he does, it means I can remove one of his tanks next go. Good, I'm quite happy with that because I've got options to remove this. And you can see now that me stealing Shadow Flame is going to be nasty. I can destroy Lertheb, I can do 5 to all enemies, and I'm actually going to wipe most of his minions off the board. So I think that Shadow Flame is probably going to be my play here. In fact, I cannot think of any reason not to Shadow Flame my Lertheb. So look at that, and of course the handlock could do that with his 8 damage warlock and just destroy everything. So that looking good and looking nice. The Blade Master can go down, but I'm not going to be able to heal it up. I'm just going to throw that down for a speculative heal next go. Now I've had a Circle of Healing, dropping that down, healing it up to 7, drawing cards will be all well and good. Down goes another Sun Fury Protector. So you can see some very nice play here, just sweeping in, making the trades, and he's still picking up his tanks, but we've got rid of 2 Giants. Now remember that he could still have 2 Molten Giants. Molten Giants do of course cost less mana for each damage you've taken, so the lower on health he gets, the more nastiness he can perform. So the Cabal Priest will let me rob one of his minions. Nothing key, but it would certainly give me a little bit more tempo. The Azure Drake would give me a body to start doing some damage and drawing the card. The Soul Priest I'd save, I think, until I've got a different minion in play to do a little bit more nastiness. So there's my Circle of Healing. So the Organized Soul Priest, I can start strafing lots of stuff off the table next go. And then my Holy Smite will do 3. So I'm actually going to use that to nuke that down. Bit of a funny one, but why have I done that? Well, it just takes that 1 extra damage off that he was going to use. And do you know what? I can take 4 here, and then I can even heal myself up just to draw another card. And I finally get Dark Cultist. We've been waiting for that Dark Cultist for so long. So we're going to get Dark Cultist down. Now what Dark Cultist would have been brilliant on is just throwing it down and then making sure that it starts buffing the health of these should it perish. As expected, Molten Giants come into play, and we'll probably get a direct trade. No, the Twilight Cultist just goes for face. I do not have 2 Shadow of Deaths, so I'm lacking options to remove that Molten Giant. But we do get a Holy Nova, which will let us do some things. So Holy Nova will deal 3, restore 2. Organized Soul Priest, if we throw that on the table, then that will let us perform some nastiness as well. But I think that we need to wait just 1 more turn. So if I can drop a Cultist, that will help me buff my minions. Oh, Cabal Shadow Priest is not going to let me rob anything. Another Azure Drake gives me more nasty spell damage. The Orkanai will not let me quite remove all of those cards. Tough calls to be made. Ragnaros I draw into my finisher. I can't quite Holy Nova, which is a shame because that would do 4, so maybe waiting for that combo if he doesn't kill me for 1 more turn would have been nice. A Death Rattling Cultist or go for some card draw. Or perhaps even throw down my Orkanai. I'm going to give him lots to think about this turn. Lots to think about. So does he take the spell damage? Does he take the Orkanai? He could use a Shadow Flame. I know that he's got it. Ooh, nasty. Oh, that takes him to 10. Oh, he has his finisher. And there is a wombo combo to the max. Double Faceless. Faceless into double Leroy. Soulfire. Oh, vicious and hideous. So that is an example of a handlock finishing in spades. Could I have done much to prevent that? Ooh, I'm saying no, he was waiting for his cards then. So, I've couple of challenging games there. Probably not done that deck quite justice, but I hope we at least introduced you to some of those concepts. So thank you so much for tuning in. There what we did was jump in and have a look at none other than a little bit of a resurgence of Priest and seeing how some of those combos can work. As always, we're doing it from an intro and new player perspective. I am no master of that deck, as you can tell. And although there's a couple of losses, I probably made a few misplays. Hopefully you can see how some of the combos can work. And maybe, I do encourage, if you fancy looking at a master at work, go and have a look at Trump on his stream. And maybe just take a look at the deck list and have a look at some of it. Maybe try it yourself. So thanks so much for tuning in. If you're live, don't go away. We're going to be doing a little bit of Pokemon next up. If you are on in archive, then please do come and visit us. You can come see more of our videos at youtube.com/Felcraftcasts. You can come and join us live 5 nights a week. We try and play UK evenings, but also some UK lunchtimes at twitch.tv/Felcraftcasts. Our Twitter is @Felcraftcasts, and last but not least, the website is at felcraft.org, where you can find all kinds of articles, links, and other things that may not live in a video, but the videos do. So, thanks very much for tuning in. Hopefully see you soon, and take it easy.